Welcome back. Today we are making a clicker cake from The Last of Us. That's right, we're making this nasty guy into something truly delicious. For starters, our head is made up of several layers of chocolate cake and ganache. Ganache is firm and sturdy when it's chilled, so it makes it the perfect choice for supporting all of the sculpted elements that I'm going to be adding later on. For the face, I used melted white chocolate in my trusty silicone skull mold. You may have noticed some extruded pieces in the chocolate cake layers as well. I was trying to create the visual effect of revealing mycelium spreading throughout the cake when it was cut, but the reveal maybe wasn't as striking as I had hoped. It was worth a try, but you can let me know what you think later on. I took some artistic liberties with this design, making a different version of a clicker, maybe one that's been even further decomposed than the ones that we see running around in the game and the show. For those of you who aren't familiar, a clicker is a zombie-like creature which relies on its hearing, making clicking and screeching sounds to locate their prey, sort of like a nightmarish echolocation. It's a super creepy creature design. This was definitely a step away from my comfort zone, as I usually like to make more cutesy and colorful cakes. But hey, let me know if there are other cake creatures, scary or otherwise, that you'd like to see me make in the future, and subscribe for more step-by-step designs and tutorial videos. I know I'm going to definitely be making more Zelda-themed cakes like a Majora's Mask and Wind Waker cake, and I also am planning a Hobbit-themed cake as well. So be sure to check back in for those. To cover the cake and to sculpt, I'm using Hot Hands modeling chocolate. So far, I like it much better than the recipes that I've tried to make at home. It's smooth and pliable, but it doesn't get super oily when you're kneading it and sculpting it, which is great. Modeling chocolate was definitely the way to go for this design, since the attached pieces can be blended in seamlessly, and the pieces won't dry out or crack over time as I'm adding all the layers of detail. It's also great because it holds its shape at room temperature and when chilled, and if these pieces had been fondant or gum paste, I would have had to place supportive elements beneath them and around them, allowing them to dry for hours before these parts could stand on their own. For the smaller shell fungi that I attached, I sculpted them separately and pressed the tops into scallop shell molds for the texture. I feel like adding different textures to the various surface of this cake is what really brought it to life. So I ended up using many different fondant and sculpting tools to create the fluted gills, the stippling, and the crevices. Here I used an extruder for some noodly details and attached those strands as well to incorporate more motion into the design. For the smaller shell fungi that I'm attaching, I sculpted them separately and I pressed the tops of them into a scallop seashell. I pressed the tops of them into a scallop seashell mold for the texture on top and then added the gills underneath by hand. To place separate pieces, I used a edible food glue. It's made of Tylose powder or CMC powder mixed with water. After this guy was completed, I swear every time I opened the fridge, it was like a jump scare waiting for me. This thing just eerily staring down at me from the top shelf. I think that the painting was my favorite step of this creation. I got really into it and spent a couple hours just sort of in the zone. I started the process by applying the darkest colors first, really pressing them into the recesses, and then added the lighter colors layered on top. That way, the textures are all very well defined, and even from a distance, you can still see all of the sculpted texture. The paints that I'm using are Sweet Sticks brand, and I like them a lot. These paints are totally edible, and you can paint on modeling chocolate and chilled buttercream as well as fondant. But here it is, the freaky fungal fright that is the clicker. I joked that to cut the cake it'd be very Ellie of me to sneak up on it and shiv the cake before slicing it, but quickly decided against that idea. Safety first. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and come back for more unique cake designs and cake making tutorials in the future. See you next time!